Hey everybody, what's up? YouTube, how are you? Looks like we got 4 people on already. Rob here. I'm in Moldova. Moldovia is what they call it in the United States. Kind of in between Romania and Russia, and making my live video. I think we're gonna do this every Sunday moving forward, at least for a while, where I just start tackling some of the challenges that people have given me in response to a poll that I put out. People that are waiting, and some of the biggest challenges that they face as they go through this period. So yeah, looks like there's a couple people on, and I'm just going to get into it because people can watch the replay if they're not watching the live stream. So I wanted to talk today about 7 things you can do during the wait to use this time productively, basically to make it really the most productive season of your life. And I believe that your time off really can be a time for you to not only figure out what you want most, but then move the needle forward significantly in those areas, or in those areas that matter most to you, so that when you do get into a relationship, you're actually in a really different place than you were when you started your season of singleness. At least that's what I've experienced as I've gone through this. I basically have been single for the last 8 years, coming up on 8 years. It was at the end of 2011 when me and my last relationship ended, and I started attempting to wait. It took me about six months to get to the point where I was abstinent, because I was so used to having sex in relationships. So it took me about 6 months to get abstinent, and then I went 3 years straight without having sex. I was looking for love at the time, but it's really easy to figure out if it's real when you're not having sex. It's super easy to figure out, is this someone that could see spending the rest of my life with? When you're not getting physical, it gives you a lot of clarity. So I went 3 years without having sex, and really without dating very much at all. And then I just slipped up one night, and then I went another 4 years, and of abstinence, and again just made a mistake, one night. But other than that, I mean, so for the most part, I still like to say for the most part it's been 8 years, outside of two nights that kind of inadvertently fell back into having sex, but with no consistency. So I learned a lot along the way, and I try to share it as much as possible with people, because I think it's a really practical decision to wait. If that it's a great strategy for finding love. It's also a great strategy just for creating a life that you love. Creating something, a life that you love waking up to every day. And I like to talk about some of those things tonight. So first, what is one of the first of 7 that you can do to use your season of singleness, your waiting, to your benefit? I put stressing about your future isn't one of them, because I do see a lot of people that they take the time off, and their strategy isn't really much. They're not active. I often think about waiting as like waiting tables, where you're hustling. You're serving the people that are around you, and that's the way I look at waiting. I don't look at waiting as just like sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, waiting for someone to come along and fix you, because that's not a very good strategy, and it's definitely not being proactive. So the things that I'm going to talk about tonight are very proactive, and a way that you can use your time off to, again, make this the most productive season of your life. So very first thing that you can do is start a business. So I put that down because I feel like when you're single, that it's the best time to jump. Steve Harvey says jump. Go after that dream, that thing that you've always wanted to do, maybe that business that you've always wanted to create. I really think that being single is the best time to do it for several reasons. One, because strictly because of time. Like when you start a business, speaking from someone that's done it, it requires a lot of time. So you're going to have to work long days, long, 12, 15-hour days sometimes. You're going to have to work weekends. And it's great if you don't have anyone to go home to, there's no reason that you can't work long hours, right? So I think starting a business while you're single is a great idea. You also don't have, you can reduce your cost of living. So you can get rid of your car, you can drive a beater, you can get a smaller apartment or get rid of your house and move into an apartment or whatever you need to do to lower your cost of living. It's not always that easy to cut expenses when you're in a relationship, especially if you got a family. So if you don't have, you don't have a spouse to support, maybe you don't have a child right now to support, and you don't have the time, then you can put all that energy into your business, and it also your mental focus. It allows you to think about your business all the time. So I think starting a business is a great idea while you're single. It's something that I did. I started a marketing business when me and my girlfriend broke up 8 years ago, and it provided me an income stream now that I can be in places like Moldova and have money coming in so that I can do things that I'm passionate about. But I didn't start that business while I was in a relationship because I was making money already, and I guess I was somewhat comfortable. Plus, like when you're in a relationship, you need a certain amount of money just to like date, to go on dates, go out to dinner. When you're single, especially, if you're waiting, you don't necessarily need money for those things. And you can take that time, even that money, maybe that you would have gone out, eating with someone else or whatever, and you can put it into your business. So I think starting a business is a great thing to do while you're single. The second thing that I think is a good thing to do is develop a passion project. So the first thing, the business is for you to make money. The passion project is your way now to give back. So that could be something that you see a problem in the world that you're like, man, why doesn't somebody do something about that? That's probably a good sign that you're the person that's supposed to do something about it. So if you don't know what that is, if you don't have some burning desire to fix something or see some problem in the world that you think that you could solve, then become a volunteer somewhere. Take on a position of a volunteer, maybe even the position of a lead volunteer. So faith communities are great places to do that. They're always looking for help. But I would say give back. This is your way to add value to the world, and you can do it again by volunteering. Something that I did when me and my girlfriend broke up. I was like sitting around every weekend, bored out of my mind. And I thought, man, there's got to be other people that are feeling this way. So I started organizing social events called Clean. They were actually concerts. They were spelled Kleen. And what I did is I brought in like three Christian musicians, acts, bands, whatever, and I would bring in three bar bands, cover bands. And I would tell the Christians, okay, do me a favor, don't get too churchy on the mic because I don't want to offend these guys. And I would tell these guys, the bar bands, hey, don't cuss too much or do anything too offensive because I don't want to offend the church people. And I'd put them in a bar together, and I would create this really cool dynamic where you had, Christian acts and non-Christian acts, and you had people, my church friends and my non-church friends. And it was really awesome. It was kind of like my ministry, I guess. And then like a year or two later, I organized a mission trip where I took a group of people over to Grenada and, used some money from a social event that I held to subsidize the trip. And then that actually ended up becoming City Fam, which became my nonprofit. So that for me was like my passion project. It still is. I don't get paid from City Fam. It's something that I really believe in and I give a lot of time to. But develop a passion project. Figure out what it is that you really care about and start giving back. And I think, again, being single is a great time to do that. I could have done that potentially before when I had a relationship. For whatever reason, I didn't, because I guess I was comfortable, when I was in relationships. So I think that when you're single, you have a lot of time, you have a lot energy and focus and thing, that you need to put into other places. I talk a lot about sex transmutation, and this is a really practical way that played out in my life, because I was like, I needed something to do with that time and energy, and I put it into a passion project, which ultimately became my nonprofit. So figure out something that you really care about. Maybe it's, abused women, or maybe it's something with children or the homeless or elderly, or animals, or whatever it is. Find what you're passionate about and then start giving some time to it. And the really cool thing I like about that is, number one, you meet better people when you're volunteering, people that aren't so selfish, and that comes in super handy when you're pursuing your dreams. But also, God has a funny way of steering you into your purpose when you are giving back. Like I often say, you can't steer a parked car. So it's a lot of times people won't get into, volunteering or giving back because they don't see a payoff for themselves. And then it automatically, somehow, I don't know, it's just the way the universe works, that they don't end up finding their purpose because they're so worried about, and they even exchange, like it doesn't work like that. You just got to give, you just got to add value, and somehow, some way it will come back in somewhat completely unexpected way that you couldn't have predicted on the front end. So develop a passion project. If you don't have one, just get on a volunteer somewhere, potentially even a leadership position, volunteering. And not only will it make you feel great about yourself, you'll meet better people. And I believe that God will steer you into your purpose. The third thing that I think you can do while you're single, that a really good time to do while you're single, is travel. So, get out of Dodge, basically. Like, there's nothing holding you back while you're single from going out and seeing those cities, those places, traveling to different areas that you've always wanted to see. Number one, you don't have to ask anyone's permission to go. Number two, like, you probably know people in different parts of the world, and they would let you stay in their spare bedroom or potentially on their couch. And I just feel like traveling while you're single is really practical, because you won't always have that luxury, especially when you have a family. If you have kids, if you have a spouse, maybe they can't take time off of work. So traveling's a great thing to do while you're single. I've been to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Peru, now Romania, other places. I just, lots of states all across the country I've traveled to since I've been single. And it's really not that expensive. Like, there's sites like VRBO and obviously Airbnb and other places. But if you have a good network, if you know people, a lot of times you can stay in places for free. A lot of the places even that we're in Romania, we're staying for free. We have hosts feeding us and everything else. Now, I know that it's a little bit of a different animal than what you're talking about, than what I'm talking about. But if you're part of a community, maybe you're part of the Why Waiting Works community, or some other community on Facebook or other social media platform, you can usually find people that would host you, would let you stay for free, or at least be able to refer you to a place where you could stay cheap. So I think traveling is a great thing to do while you're single. The fourth thing that I put down was develop a new hobby. So being single is a great time to really reinvent yourself. Like, who do you want to be? That was a question that I asked myself when me and my last girlfriend broke up. And I thought, there was a bunch of things that I'd always wanted to do, or at least that I've had some interest in doing, that I hadn't done for whatever reason. They say when you're in a relationship, people have heard the term fat and happy. And I wasn't fat, but I guess I was somewhat comfortable, right? So I was, in a sense, I wasn't doing some of the things that I was interested in. So when her and I broke up, I bought a bike, I joined a softball team, I started boxing, I started boot camp. I just started doing other things that I wouldn't have done had I been in a relationship. So I would say, if you're single, take advantage of that. What is the thing that you want to do? Maybe you want to learn a new language. Maybe you've always thought about taking a cooking class or singing lessons or whatever it is. There's some interest. Take up a new hobby. You also meet new people while you're doing that. And again, you don't have to ask anyone's permission, and you don't have you have extra time that you can put into these things. So I would say develop a new hobby. I think that that is a great thing to do while you're single. The fifth thing is develop your routine. So what I mean by that is last Sunday, I said consistency is the path to greatness. And I honestly believe that following a routine will produce tremendous results in your life. Even while I'm over here in Moldova, I'm following a routine. I get up in the morning, I do my quiet time, I pray, I visualize, sometimes I always read the word. I read a little bit of my daily light devotional. And then sometimes I'll do gratitude, but then I'll go outside. I'll do my workout while I listen to my vision statement and my affirmations. And I come back in, I take my shower, I do my Scottish shower where I turn the water all the way to cold for like the last minute while I listen to worship music while I'm showering. And then I get started and I feel completely connected with God and focused and centered, and I'm ready to tackle my day. And that is how I pretty much start every day. And I didn't have that routine when I was in a relationship with, in any of my previous relationships, to be honest. I developed that routine after I got single. Now, I'm sure that when I get into my next relationship, I'll continue that routine because I've been doing it now for several years and it produces results in my life. But I feel like if you're single, now's a really good time to develop that routine, because the chances that you're going to get into a routine after you're already in a relationship are probably slim. So if you're single, you're waiting, now would be the time to develop it so that you can continue it once you're in your relationship. It's also going to help you become a better version of yourself. And that's going to help you attract a higher quality mate, because ultimately you won't attract what you want, you'll attract what you are. I'll say that again. You're not going to attract what you want, the person that you want, you'll attract what you are. So for example, if you're really out of shape, let's say, more likely a really fit person isn't going to want to date someone that's out of shape. If you get into really, really good shape, if you become really physically fit, then a physically fit person, you're more likely to attract a person like that. And that's not just with physical fitness, that's with everything. Like if you have a really weak relationship with God, you're probably not going to find somebody that's really mature in their faith wanting to date you, and then vice versa. So I would say develop your routine now, become the best version of yourself in doing so, and then that will help you attract a higher quality person. And then, of course, you can continue that routine as you're in your relationship. Anyway, if this is making sense to you, do me a favor, drop a comment, because you guys are super quiet tonight. Just say something like, makes sense. Everybody can leave a comment that says, makes sense. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, because I'll go ahead and I'll address them after this talk is over. So the sixth thing that I put down was develop a tribe of mentors. So I think that, thank you, Abigail, I appreciate that. The sixth thing I put down was develop a tribe of mentors, because what I did when me and my last girlfriend broke up was I started meeting with a life coach, and I didn't even know what life coaching was at the time. To me, actually, I kind of did it almost by accident, because it was my pastor's wife, and she said she would coach me, and I was like, okay, sure, I agreed to it. And I remember driving to the first meeting thinking to myself, what is a life coach? I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was going to be a waste of time. And it completely changed my life. So I would say find some people that are where you want to be and can help you get there. So, it could be a life coach. It could be somebody at your church, so maybe a spiritual coach, an accountability partner, maybe. It could be a personal trainer, somebody that can help you get into great shape. It could be a business coach. It could be all the above. Right now, I have several different coaches. I have somebody that coaches me I have a life coach. I have my pastor that I meet with regularly. I have people that coach me in my physical fitness. I have another person that coaches me on my marketing for my business and my brand. So I have a tribe of mentors, people that know more than me in certain areas and can coach me and can hold me accountable to things, that can give me deadlines and hold me accountable. And I think when you're single, it's a great time to develop that team of people, because again, you have time. You should be hungry, like, meaning like you should be wanting to use this season to its utmost. Like, you're not going to be sitting around chilling with somebody watching Netflix when you're single, because there's no one to go home to. So you should be grinding right now. This should be the time for you to put in the work to not only become the best version of yourself, but figure out what you want most and move the needle as far as possible forward, because it ain't always going to be like this. That's what I really try to stress to people when I talk to them about the weight. Like, one day it's going to change. You're going to get into a relationship and you're going to have to leave work at 5 or 6 o'clock and go home because that person is expecting you for dinner. And you have to use this time to its utmost. You have to take advantage of it. Okay. So I would say develop that tribe of mentors, figure out who can help you, what are the areas that you need help in, and then figure out who in your life that that you can start meeting with on a regular basis to help you move the needle forward. I think a church is a great place to do it. I often talk about joining a faith community, because the people that are part of a good faith community are typically not that selfish. So they're looking to help, right? It's because it's kind of part of the deal. That's just what Jesus said to do. So they kind of have to give back, right? They have to do stuff for people with not necessarily for monetary return. So you'll find people in churches a lot of times, at least if you go to a good church, that are willing to help you. That it could be a business mentor, that could be a life coach, that could be your spiritual accountability partner, or whatever. You'll find people there if you're going to a good one. If you're not going to a good one, find a good one. I often say go to ARC churches, ARC churches, find a church. If you put that into Google, you'll be able to put in your zip code and find places that are like that are in your area. And then what I often tell people is don't join the first church that you go to. Try a different one every Sunday. Date them. Date different churches every Sunday until you find one that you love. When you find one that you love, get on to leadership. Like, volunteer. Say, hey, I'd like to be a greeter, or I'd like to help out with the kids, or whatever it is that you like to do. Do something. Start giving back. That'll actually solve one of our points. And then start dating small groups. Try a different small group every week until you find one that you love, and then get involved with that. And that'll give you a community of people to do life with. That's what I did, and that worked really well for me. And that's a suggestion that I give to people when they're waiting and they're lacking community, because doing this thing alone is damn near impossible. It's super difficult and it's not fun at all. So, like, you need to find a group of people that are headed in the same direction as you. Okay. Point number 7, last but not least, is start sharing your journey with others. Start sharing your experiences with others. What I mean by that is start talking about what you're experiencing as you go through this weight, as you start your business, as you volunteer, as you look for mentors, as you develop new habits, all of it. Start sharing your experiences. I'll tell you why. Because your experiences are going to help someone. There's a verse, I think it's in Revelation, it talks about they overcame by the word of their testimony, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. So the word of your testimony, your story, is going to help someone else in some way. They may be struggling. They may be thinking about starting a business. Maybe they started a business and they get some solution from you. I mean, the reason that I'm in Moldova right now is because I started talking about the things that I was going through. I mean, I made a video, I posted it on YouTube, it went viral, and now I'm here in Romania and Moldova, and I've met so many people through that. So number 1, you're going to help people. Number 2, you're going to meet people. You're going to attract resources, because people are going to they're going to know what you're up to. Otherwise, if you're not talking about it, if you're not sharing it, how will they know? So how you're going to do this, how you're going to share your experiences, really there's only a few ways to do it. There's only a few mediums. One, you can make videos like I'm doing now. You can make a vlog if you're good at videos, which is something that I like doing. if that's not your thing, if writing is your thing, then you can make a blog. You can start writing about your experiences and put it on like a WordPress website or something like Medium or Reddit or whatever, and start talking about through blogging. The third thing that you can do is you could do a podcast. So you don't like video, but voice is your thing. So you can literally do a podcast on your phone and upload it to something like Anchor and start talking about your experiences and posting it on social media so that other people know what you're going through, and you can now help them and also attract help for yourself through that. And I think that it's a great time to do that because, again, you have the time, you have the energy while you're single to do that. And if you don't do it while you're single, are you really going to do it when you get into a relationship? Probably not. So that's what I would suggest. Those are my seven. I don't even know I forget what I titled this video now, but those are my 7 things to do while you're single. How to use your time productively in your season of singleness. So for anyone out there, I'm trying to keep this to 30 minutes, so I want to announce a few things here at the end. Stefan Speaks. If anyone knows who he is, he wrote a couple great books, several great books. One of them is God, Where's My Boaz? I'm actually going to be joining him on his You Deserve It tour at the end of this month in 3 cities. Philadelphia on the 25th, Pittsburgh on the 26th, and DC on the 27th. So if you're in any of those cities, I'd love to meet up with you. I actually have meet and greet set up. Like I think it's Starbucks and definitely in Starbucks in Philly, I think it was. I don't remember where it is in Pittsburgh and DC, but I could be more than happy to tell you where those are. And basically what we're doing is I just would like to meet anybody that is on this path, that's on this journey. Maybe they know about City Fam. If they're interested, I'd love to talk about possibilities and what could be, and then maybe introduce them to any other like-minded people that are living in their city. So if you are in any of those places and would like to meet up, please shoot me a message. You can either drop a comment here, or you can send an email to rob@cityfam.com, cityfam.com. And then at the end of this month, we're going to be launching something that we did last year called No Sex November. And it's a challenge that someone actually brought it to me and said, hey, I've been keeping up with your book and everything you're doing, and you should do this. And we did it, and it was great. We had a lot of people jump on it, got a lot of positive feedback, people that got some really good results. And what we're challenging people to do is not have sex, not look at porn, and not masturbate for the month of November. Now, for some of y'all watching, some people are like, that's easy. I've been doing that for years. Okay, but that's not easy for everybody. A lot of people they can't even get their mind around the fact of not masturbating or having sex for a month. So we want to challenge people to do that. And really what we're hoping to do is, number one, we want to introduce the principle of sex transmutation to people that aren't familiar with it. A way for you to take that sexual energy, harness it, and put it into the things that matter most to you. So some of y'all out there don't even know what matters most to you. You don't have a vision for your life. This is a really good way to develop a strong vision for your life, because when you stop having sex, if you are having sex, you're able to get clarity about things that you want most instead of things that you're just wanting in the moment, like sex. Like that's the way I was. And then you can take that energy and you can start putting it into those things, and you can really move the needle pretty far forward in a month's time. So actually, you know what? If you're on board for taking the No Sex November challenge, go ahead and comment right now. Just put challenge accepted below, because this way I'll know that you're on board. I will reply to your comment with some more details when we get started. And then, and then for the people that already know about sex transmutation, the other thing that this does for them is it just gives them a group of people to do it with, because I said in a post the other day, misery loves company, right? So we'll all be in it together, and it actually becomes kind of fun. And we'll be encouraging y'all to tag the Instagram page, the Why Waiting Works Instagram page, and use No Sex NOV challenge as a hashtag. Awesome, Abigail. Thank you. You don't know how long you'll make it. You're going to make it 30 days. I'm believing in you. I'm believing in you. I'm calling it now. You can do it. You can do it. So what else? All right. Thank you, Elaine. Appreciate it. She's praying for Abigail. That's awesome. Okay. So what else? Good job, Terry Gallagher. Another challenge accepted. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. We got 14 people on. Let's see if we can get 14 challenge accepted. So what else? Want to encourage everyone, if you're not familiar with the Why Waiting Works community on Facebook, go ahead and take a moment and join it now. Here we go. I'm practicing sex transmutation currently. I must admit that I have super energy and very focused. There you go, Joel. See, Joel, I'm telling you, it works. It's how I started my nonprofit. It's how I wrote the book, developed the study guide, almost everything that I do. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. There's times where I'll, fall off and I'll masturbate. I even look at porn. I've looked at porn in the, not too distant past because I've, got depressed or lonely or horny or whatever, but I'm not perfect. But I know that this works. It's like dieting, like I know if I want to get a six pack, I can't eat junk food. You know what I mean? So like this produces results in your life, and you'll be better off if you did it. Anyway, so Why Waiting Works community on Facebook. Check it out. There's about 1,500 people, I think, on there right now that are waiting. They support each other. They communicate with each other. It's super engaged group. I would say go there, look, send a request to join, and they'll approve you. You have to answer a couple questions. You also can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram username is Rob B. Kowalski with an I. And I'm over here in Moldova. We're going back to Romania tomorrow. You can follow my journey. I post a lot of stories, a lot of pictures on there. If you'd like to connect further, you can also follow the Why Waiting Works Instagram page. That's where we'll be encouraging you to hashtag through the month of November. There's also a map that we have for people that are that are waiting, that want to be connected with other like-minded people. You can find that on the Why Waiting Works community on Facebook. So that's it. I'm a little bit over. It's 31 minutes. Let me just see if there's any questions here that we didn't answer. Veronica, hola. Thank you, Abigail, for commenting. Okay. Elaine, very helpful. I do have a question. Is goal like a target date? Asking because I was a major workaholic with strong routine. I had to shut all my work down. Is goal like a target date? I don't think I understand that question. Okay, coaches, believe it or not, that's not that easy. I found this is harder for women than men. Also, how do you have a life coach for prolonged singleness when you are waiting? Let me make sure I understand that. How do you have a life coach for prolonged singleness when you are waiting? Well, I guess it would have to be somebody that's done it before. My life coach actually waited till she got married. Her and is my pastor's wife. So her and my pastor waited. I think they dated for 2 years or something before they got married. So she's been my life coach for about 8 years, and definitely helped me through some hard times. But she's done it, So I would say I would want somebody that's done it. Obviously, somebody that believes in it, that's going to not be questioning why you're doing it. But also my life coach is like, you need to get married. That's what she's been telling me lately. She's like, you need to find a wife. And I agree. I'm like, pray for me. I can't settle. I'm waiting for God to send her. Anyway, I don't know if that answers your question, but let's keep going. So already setting up gyms and churches for social, but having to get with God on goals. Yes, definitely. Let God determine what your goals are, so you're not leaning that ladder against the wrong building. Okay, this may be because women are threatened by other women and come under more scrutiny as an available woman. This video is very helpful today. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Definitely makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Janice. They would decrease the chance of depression as well. Awesome. I don't know what that was in response to. I am currently on crutches going on 5 weeks now, which is messed up. Which has messed up my routine because I can't work out anymore. This was a huge way for me to focus my energy. I've been struggling recently. Yeah, exercise will do that. Definitely do that. Keep you focused. The discipline that you're able to use for not having sex and for working out carries over to every other area of your life. Like you can be disciplined, and once you learn how to control your sexual appetite, and if you can, you make yourself start going to the gym and following a routine, like you become like unstoppable at things because you've mastered yourself, and You just become stronger pretty much in every way. Okay. Challenge accepted. I see a couple challenge accepted. Joel says he's practicing sex transmutation. And he says, much appreciation from Kenya. Awesome. Great to know the message is getting out there. It's cool. Hopefully one day I'll be able to get to pay you guys a visit. All right, that's it. I'll tune in next Sunday. If you do have anything else that you want me to talk about, or even any other things that you're doing, and maybe not one of the 7 things that I missed, and you want to add them in the comment section below, please do. And I'll check them and respond to them. And I'll see you all next Sunday night. Peace. Bye.